Welcome to the wonderfully bizarre world of American housing laws, where logic sometimes takes a coffee break, and rules seem to be written by someone who watched too many sitcoms. Let's explore 101 of the weirdest housing laws across the US, starting with some real head-scratchers. 1. Ever thought about splitting rent with your four best friends? Well, in Boulder, Colorado, that's not happening. Their law bans more than 3 unrelated people from living together. Apparently, the city decided 4 friends under one roof are one broken lamp away from anarchy. Picture this. You just bought a gorgeous home in San Francisco, complete with a driveway. You park your car on it, only to find a ticket on your windshield. Why? Because you didn't get a permit to park on your own property. The irony? Parking on the street might be fine, even if it blocks someone else's driveway. 3. Chickens crossing the road might be the oldest joke in the book, but in Quitman, Georgia, it's also a legal issue. The law prohibits chickens from crossing the road, literally. The question isn't, why did the chicken cross the road, but rather, how fast can you pay the fine? 4. Winter fun might be nostalgic for most people, but not in Belton, Missouri. Here, tossing a snowball in residential areas is illegal. A playful snowball fight? Sorry, that's just chaos disguised as fun. Maybe stick to building a snowman. Just don't give him a weaponized carrot nose. 5. Miami's balcony BBQ ban isn't just a rule. It's a lifestyle adjustment. Imagine having a stunning view of Biscayne Bay, but no way to grill a burger. Apparently, the city fears your chicken wings might lead to chicken fires. Ground-level grilling only, folks. 6. In Wyoming, it's illegal to build a fence that completely obstructs a scenic view in certain areas. If you're hoping to block your neighbor's prying eyes with a wall, don't forget. Wyoming values its landscapes over your privacy. 7. Some towns have quirky traditions, and Carmel by the Sea, California, has doorsteps that can't exceed 12 inches in height. Why? Maybe they wanted every entrance to feel like stepping onto a dollhouse porch. Practicality isn't the priority when aesthetic consistency rules. 8. Minneapolis has a secret rivalry with Mother Nature. If your grass grows over 8 inches, expect a fine. Letting your lawn get wild and free might sound poetic, but here it's just a crime against landscaping. Looks like the lawnmower wins this round. 9. Ever dream of taking a relaxing outdoor bath? Pine Bluff, Arkansas, says no. Placing bathtubs on your lawn is a punishable offense. Why was this even a problem in the first place? Apparently, redneck spa days got a little too popular. 10. Snow in Philadelphia is less about magic and more about manual labor. The city requires homeowners to clear snow from their sidewalks within 6 hours of a snowfall. That means your lazy snow day just turned into a legal obligation. Sleep in, and you might wake up to a fine. 11. In Austin, Texas, homeowners are required to get approval for rainwater collection systems visible from the street. Saving the environment is great, but only if it doesn't mess with the aesthetic of the neighborhood. 12. San Diego's curb appeal law is more terrifying than a long HOA meeting. Neglecting to trim your hedges or paint your fence could get you fined. Imagine spending your weekend not lounging but out there, hedge clippers in hand, keeping the inspectors happy. If these laws left you scratching your head, imagine what's coming next. Subscribe and let's find it together. 13. Ever try to protest your HOA president for raising fees? Not in Kansas City, Missouri, where picketing private residences is flat out illegal. Instead, you'll have to write a strongly worded email or stage your protest at the local Starbucks. It's not as dramatic, but hey, rules are rules. 14. Living in New York City means lots of compromises, but did you know installing a satellite dish on a historic building requires approval? Apparently, the city draws the line at modern tech, ruining its 19th century vibe. So enjoy your vintage brownstone, but don't expect good reception. 15. Fortune-telling in your living room sounds harmless, right? Not in parts of Arkansas, where it's actually illegal to practice divination in residential areas. Crystal balls, tarot cards. Keep them out of sight or risk a very ironic fine for predictable behavior. 16. Louisville, Kentucky, doesn't mess around with yard signs. Forget political posters or garage sale announcements. There are strict limits on what you can display. So, unless you're promoting world peace or selling lemonade, your signage might just land you in hot water. 17. In Texas, HOA rules come with the force of the Wild West, but with stricter codes. Some neighborhoods don't allow basketball hoops in driveways. They worry that spontaneous games might disrupt the peaceful vibe of suburbia. So much for neighborhood pickup games. 18. Want a fire pit in your backyard? In Los Angeles, it's not as simple as buying one. Some areas have regulations banning open flames altogether. So, if you were dreaming of roasting marshmallows under the stars, you'll need a plan B, maybe a microwave s'mores kit? 19. Painting your house pink sounds fun and bold, but in certain Florida communities, it's a no-go. HOA color guidelines often require shades like desert sand or muted beige. The message? Conformity is chic. Creativity? Not so much. 20. It's hard to imagine, but in some Illinois neighborhoods, planting vegetables in your front yard is illegal. Want to grow tomatoes? Better move them to the backyard or risk being labeled the neighborhood renegade with your rebellious zucchini patch. 21. Ever dreamed of owning a clothesline business? Don't try it in many upscale California communities. These neighborhoods often ban clotheslines outright, claiming they're unsightly. Because nothing ruins a multi-million-dollar view quite like fluttering socks. 22. In Salem, Oregon, leaving your garage door open for too long is a no-no. Homeowners can be fined if their garage stays open for more than a few hours. The message is clear: keep it shut or prepare for a ticket. Apparently, fresh air isn't worth the risk of curious raccoons. 23. Kentucky takes lawn decor very seriously. In one community, pink flamingos are banned entirely. No exceptions, even for flamingo enthusiasts. Why? Because apparently nothing screams chaos like a cheerful plastic bird standing in the grass. 24. In some Seattle neighborhoods, compost bins are mandatory. Forget about tossing your food scraps in the trash. If you're not composting, you could face fines. It's a city where even your leftovers are expected to be eco-conscious. 25. Charleston, South Carolina, has a thing for shutters. Historic homes are required to maintain their original, functional shutters. That's right, decorative ones don't count. If a hurricane hits, you'd better be able to close those bad boys, or else you're breaking the law. 26. Ever tried to mow your lawn on a Sunday morning? In parts of New Jersey, that's illegal. Noise ordinances prohibit loud activities like mowing before a certain hour. So sleep in, because the sound of a lawnmower at 8 a.m. might just land you a visit from the local police. 27. In Florida's Key West, outdoor laundry is regulated. You can hang your towels and swimsuits to dry, but only in designated areas. It's a practical rule for a beach town, but it does make you wonder how anyone's supposed to enjoy island life with so many restrictions. 28. In Michigan, forget about letting your dog roam freely in your yard. Some housing communities require invisible fences or leash rules, even on your own property. It's a leash law world out there, and freedom isn't on the agenda. 29. In parts of Tennessee, you can't park your car on the grass. It doesn't matter if your driveway's full or if you're having a big family barbecue. Grass parking is banned, and the HOA will definitely notice. 30. Ohio has a peculiar rule about fences. If you want to install one, it has to be a specific height and style. Thinking of building a tall privacy fence? Think again. It's like the state's way of saying, your business is everyone's business. 31. Ever thought about installing solar panels on your roof? In parts of Alabama, you might need HOA approval first. That's right, your energy efficiency dreams could be crushed because your panels don't match the neighborhood's aesthetic, because nothing screams progress like bureaucracy. 32. In New Orleans, historic preservation is no joke. Homeowners in certain areas are required to use specific materials and colors for repairs. Want to replace your rotting shutters with something modern? Too bad. Welcome to the world of vintage wood and expensive paint. 33. Arizona has a peculiar rule about cacti. it's illegal to remove or damage them without a permit, even if they're on your property. So, if you're tired of dodging spiky arms on your way to the mailbox, you'll need to make peace with the prickly residents. 34. In various states like Utah and Texas, laws regulate how long or when holiday decorations can be displayed. From banning Santa in July to limiting twinkling lights after January, these rules aim to keep neighborhoods seasonally appropriate and overly festive neighbors in check. 35. In North Dakota, it's illegal to leave broken-down vehicles on your property for more than 30 days. So if your restoration project takes a little too long, you might end up towing it, not to the shop, but out of sight. 36. Rhode Island loves its lawns, so much so that they regulate watering schedules. Some neighborhoods have rules dictating which days you can water your grass. Miss your designated day, prepare for your lawn to look like a desert and your neighbors to silently judge you. 37. Want to paint a mural on your garage door? In some Texas towns, that's a hard no. Community guidelines strictly forbid unauthorized artistic expression. So, unless your masterpiece is beige or eggshell, it's staying in the sketchbook. 38. Hawaii has rules about hanging beach towels on balconies. Sure, it seems practical to dry them outside after a swim, but in certain areas, it's prohibited. Instead, you're left trying to dry them indoors, which makes no sense when you're surrounded by sunshine. 39. In Vermont, you can't just let your hedges grow wild. If they're blocking a neighbor's view, you'll need to trim them. No exceptions. It's as if Vermont is saying, your foliage is cute, but not at the expense of the scenery. 40. In Colorado Springs, having too many lawn ornaments can get you fined. That adorable gnome collection, better keep it modest. Apparently, the city has a hard limit on whimsy. 41. Thinking about painting your fence a funky color? In parts of Charleston, South Carolina, your creativity might be stopped in its tracks. Many historic neighborhoods have strict rules about what colors you can use. Bright orange? Absolutely not. A tasteful shade of white or gray. Now we're talking. It's like your fence is auditioning for a role in a colonial reenactment. 42. Ever wanted to turn your front yard into a vegetable garden? In Orlando, Florida, you'll need to think twice. Front yard vegetable gardens were actually banned in some neighborhoods until a law overturned it in 2019. Before that, tomatoes in the front yard were treated like a rebellion against suburban decorum. 43. Let's talk about fences in New York State. Some communities have strict rules requiring fences to face a certain way. The good side must face outward toward the street or your neighbors, while the ugly side faces your property. It's a subtle way of saying, keep the charm public and the mess private. 44. In certain areas of Alaska, outdoor Christmas lights are frowned upon after February. Sure, the long dark winters make the twinkling lights feel comforting, but leaving them up too long might get you a polite warning, or an annoyed neighbor with a clipboard. 45. In Washington, some neighborhoods ban the installation of security cameras that face public streets. Privacy is valued so highly that even your camera might be seen as a nosy neighbor. Which of these laws makes you want to pack your bags? Or stay far away? Tell me in the comments. 46. Maine has a quirky take on house numbering. In some towns, all properties must have clearly visible numbers for emergency services. Sounds practical, right? But fail to comply, and you could be fined, even if your house hasn't moved an inch in 100 years. 47. In Dallas, Texas, lawns are practically sacred. Some HOAs require homeowners to keep their lawns green and perfectly manicured, even during droughts. Forget about xeriscaping or letting nature do its thing. Artificial turf might be your only option for staying on the HOA's good side. 48. In Aspen, Colorado, wood-burning fireplaces are heavily regulated. If your house doesn't already have one, you're out of luck. New installations are banned to limit air pollution, so if you were dreaming of cozying up by the fire after a ski day, better get used to gas or electric options. 49. Swimming pools may be a dream for many homeowners, but in parts of Massachusetts, there are strict laws about fencing them in. The fences must be a specific height with locked gates. Forget aesthetics, it's all about safety. No shortcuts unless you want to find alongside your new pool float. 50. Got a thing for quirky lawn ornaments? In Phoenix, Arizona, your gnome collection might not make it past the HOA. Many communities ban excessive decorations, claiming they disrupt the aesthetic. Apparently, a tasteful cactus is the only acceptable lawn accent in the desert. 51. Ever tried to build a backyard shed in Oregon? You might need more than just some wood and a hammer. In many areas, zoning laws require detailed permits and inspections for even the simplest structures. A cozy storage spot for your lawn tools? More like a government-approved mini barn. 52. In certain neighborhoods in Nevada, rocks aren't just landscaping, they're mandatory. Forget about lush green lawns. Xeriscaping is the only acceptable option in some communities. Water conservation is great, but when you're required to cover your yard in pebbles, it feels less eco-friendly and more like living in a giant fish tank. 53. You'd think owning a historic home would make you the king of charm, but in Savannah, Georgia, it makes you a rule follower. Every renovation, from window replacements to mailbox upgrades, must meet strict historical guidelines. Want to modernize your bathroom? Only if the 1800s would approve. 54. Nashville, Tennessee, has an odd relationship with short-term rentals. In some neighborhoods, renting out your home on platforms like Airbnb is banned entirely. So, unless you enjoy the thrill of underground hospitality, your extra bedroom is staying off the market. 55. In Pennsylvania, the law requires sidewalks to be shoveled within 24 hours of snowfall. But there's a twist. If someone slips outside your home before you clear it, you could be held liable. It's like Mother Nature and the legal system teamed up to keep you on your toes, and your shovel in hand. 56. Hawaii might be paradise, but even paradise has rules. In certain neighborhoods, your home's exterior paint must blend with the natural environment. So, those dreams of a hot pink beach house? Crushed. It's all about earthy tones that say, I live in harmony with palm trees. 57. Ever wanted to start your own backyard farm? In parts of Indianapolis, Indiana, you'll need a permit to raise chickens or other livestock, even if you've got the space. It's as if the city is saying, sure, you can have fresh eggs, but only if you're ready to jump through hoops first. 58. In Vermont, outdoor lighting is closely regulated in some communities. Your porch light can't be too bright, and it must point downward to reduce light pollution. It's a noble goal, but if you're hoping to light up your driveway like a stadium, think again. Your glow sticks will have to suffice. 59. In parts of Connecticut, fences aren't just for privacy, they're a regulated art form. The height, material, and even the design must meet local guidelines. Want a tall wrought iron masterpiece? Only if it doesn't violate the neighborhood vibe. Otherwise, you're stuck with boring white picket. 60. Florida is the king of gated communities, but some take their rules to another level. In certain neighborhoods, you're not allowed to park your car in your driveway overnight. It has to go in the garage. So, unless you're parking a spotless luxury car, it's hidden away like a family secret. 61. Ever thought about building a tiny home? In parts of New York State, forget it. Many zoning laws require homes to be a minimum square footage, effectively outlawing those trendy little abodes. So, while your minimalist dream might look great on Instagram, it's not getting past the building inspector. 62. Colorado loves its trees, but only the ones that stay in their lane. In some areas, if a tree on your property encroaches on a neighbor's yard, you're required to trim it, or they can do it for you and send you the bill. It's nature's version of mind your own business. 63. In parts of Alabama, your home's exterior must remain in good taste. The law doesn't define what that means, leaving HOAs to decide. Want to paint your house neon green or install a giant lawn sculpture? Good luck arguing that's tasteful with the HOA board. 64. Love entertaining outdoors? In many Arizona neighborhoods, there are strict noise ordinances that can shut down your backyard party before the sun sets. Whether it's music, laughter, or just a rowdy game of cornhole, you might want to keep it quiet or risk getting a noise complaint. 65. In some historic neighborhoods in Virginia, Window air conditioners are a big no. Sure, it's hot and humid, but the visual crime of a bulky AC unit sticking out of your window is apparently too much for the neighborhood's aesthetics to bear. Central air or bust. 66. In Minnesota, forget about ditching your mailbox. The law requires every home to have one, and it must meet federal guidelines. Want a quirky, custom mailbox shaped like a fish or a rocket? As long as it's USPS approved, you're golden. Otherwise, prepare for a letter of disapproval. 67. Texas might be the land of freedom, but not when it comes to holiday lights. Some communities limit when you can put them up and how long they can stay. So, no year-round twinkling lights to celebrate your love of Christmas, unless you enjoy passive-aggressive HOA emails. 68. In Washington state, lawns must be well kept. What does that mean? It means no weeds, no brown patches, and no natural landscaping that looks too wild. Your yard must resemble a golf course or you'll hear about it. Grass freedom? Not in this state. 69. In Massachusetts, historic homes often have restrictions on what kind of roofing materials you can use. Want solar panels? Only if they're invisible, or the Historical Commission says yes. Otherwise, your roof better be as historically accurate as Paul Revere's hat. 70. Tennessee takes driveway rules to the next level. In some neighborhoods, you can't use your driveway for anything other than parking. Want to fix your car, practice your jump shot, or host a garage sale? Too bad. It's strictly for vehicles, not hobbies. 71. Ever wanted to build a treehouse so impressive it could be featured in a magazine? In parts of Oregon, your dreams might hit a snag. Many communities require permits for treehouses that are taller than a single story. It's all fun and games until your childhood hideaway gets flagged as an unpermitted structure. 72. In parts of Louisiana, front porches have very specific rules. Certain neighborhoods require them to match the architectural style of the home, down to the shape of the railings. Want to spice it up with modern designs or funky colors? Not unless you want the HOA to knock on your very traditional door. 73. California loves its sunshine, but in some communities, you can't install solar panels if they're visible from the street, because nothing says progressive energy solutions like hiding your panels behind a palm tree. 74. Kentucky's got some serious rules about lawn furniture. In certain areas, you can't leave things like plastic chairs or inflatable pools out in the yard for too long. Want to enjoy your morning coffee in a cheap lawn chair? Better put it away before someone reports your temporary decor to the HOA. 75. Ever wondered how tall your hedges can grow? In parts of Florida, the limit is set at 8 feet. Go over that and your greenery could become the center of a neighborhood dispute. Apparently, privacy is acceptable, but only if it doesn't block your neighbor's view of the palm trees. 76. In North Dakota, driveway materials are surprisingly political. Gravel? Maybe. Asphalt? Probably. Brightly colored paving stones? Absolutely not. It's as if the neighborhood committee is saying, your driveway is important, but only if it looks like everyone else's. 77. Missouri doesn't play around when it comes to property lines. If your fence crosses even an inch into your neighbor's yard, they can demand you move it, and even charge you for the survey. Better triple-check those measurements before you start hammering posts. 78. In Tennessee, backyard playgrounds can only be installed with HOA approval in some neighborhoods. Swing sets and slides must blend seamlessly with the suburban aesthetic, or be dismantled. 79. Ever thought about having a pet goat? In parts of Nevada, even small livestock is banned in residential areas. Sure, they're cute, eco-friendly lawnmowers, but unless you're zoned for agriculture, your goat is officially persona non grata. 80. Arizona loves its HOA rules, and one of the quirkiest? Some neighborhoods ban basketball hoops that aren't portable. The idea is to keep driveways clutter-free, but let's be honest, no one's hauling a hoop in and out of the garage every day. 81. In parts of Wisconsin, lawns aren't just personal property, they're public statements. Certain communities require your grass to be a specific type, like Kentucky bluegrass. Thinking of switching to a clover lawn to save on water? Not unless you're ready to face a strongly worded letter from the HOA. 82. Virginia takes chimney maintenance very seriously. If your home has a non-functional chimney, you're still required to keep it in good repair in some historic neighborhoods. It doesn't matter if Santa can't use it anymore. Appearances are everything. 83. Thinking of adding a koi pond to your backyard? In parts of Idaho, water features like ponds or fountains may require special permits. Want to avoid the paperwork? Better stick to a bird bath, unless you're ready for a bureaucratic deep dive. 84. In some Mississippi neighborhoods, your garbage cans can only be visible on trash day. The rest of the week, they must be hidden from view. Out of sight, out of mind. Because apparently, nothing ruins a community's charm like a rogue trash bin. 85. Colorado's mountain communities have a peculiar rule about Christmas trees. If you cut down a tree on your property for the holidays, you're required to properly dispose of it after the season. Letting it dry out in the backyard isn't just frowned upon, it could earn you a fine. Admit it. Your HOA has rules that could rival these. Spill the tea in the comments. 86. In New Hampshire, snowmobiles can't be stored on your property unless they're in an enclosed structure. Want to keep your snowmobile ready for the winter? Better make room in the garage because leaving it out in the open is considered an eyesore. 87. In some North Carolina neighborhoods, flower gardens are heavily regulated. Certain communities dictate not only the types of flowers you can plant, but also their arrangement. If your petunias are too chaotic, expect a visit from the landscaping committee. 88. Montana loves its wildlife, but feeding them? That's a big no. In certain residential areas, leaving food out for deer or birds is strictly prohibited. The logic? Feeding wildlife attracts bears, and no one wants a grizzly crashing their backyard barbecue. 89. In Washington, D.C., rooftop decks are subject to some of the strictest regulations in the country. Want to add a space to enjoy the skyline? You'll need approval for height, size, and even the type of furniture you plan to use. It's all about preserving the city's historic aesthetic. One rooftop at a time. 90. In Illinois, garage doors have their own set of rules. Some communities require that they be painted to match the house and kept in pristine condition. A single dent or scratch. Time to repaint or replace, or face the wrath of the HOA. 91. In Oklahoma, your front yard isn't just for grass, it's for patriotism. Some neighborhoods require homeowners to display the American flag, especially during certain holidays. Forget to put it up? You might get a polite reminder or a passive-aggressive note from a neighbor. 92. New Mexico has a surprising rule about adobe homes. If your property includes traditional adobe structures, you're often required to maintain them with specific materials. Want to upgrade to something modern? Not so fast. It's authenticity or bust in the land of enchantment. 93. In New Jersey, bird feeders are restricted in certain neighborhoods because they can attract unwanted wildlife like raccoons or bears. Feeding your feathered friends could inadvertently invite trouble. 94. Vermont's charm doesn't come without effort. In certain neighborhoods, you're required to keep your home's exterior free from peeling paint or visible damage. Think of it as rustic perfection, because even quaint has standards. 95. Alaska's unique geography inspires equally unique laws. In some areas, satellite dishes must be placed out of public view. It's ironic, considering the dishes are often one of the few ways to get TV in remote locations. Hide it well, or enjoy reruns of the Northern Lights. 96. In parts of Maine, wooden decks must be regularly sealed or treated. It's not just a suggestion. It's the law in some coastal areas to prevent weather damage. Forget to treat your deck? The punishment might be as harsh as the winters. 97. Ever wanted a windmill on your property? In parts of Kansas, it's possible, but only if it doesn't exceed specific height restrictions. Even in the land of endless prairies, there's a limit to how much wind power you're allowed to harness. 98. Louisiana has strict rules about outdoor lighting. In some historic districts, even the light bulbs you use must meet certain standards to match the area's vintage aesthetic. LED lights? Only if they look like 19th century gas lamps. 99. In Arkansas, rain barrels are heavily regulated in some neighborhoods. While they're great for conserving water, certain communities argue they disrupt the uniformity of the area. Apparently, saving the planet is fine, as long as it doesn't clash with your neighbor's azaleas. 100. In Montana's ranching communities, fences separating residential areas and grazing land must be maintained by the homeowner. Even if it's a herd of cows you don't own, keeping them off your lawn is somehow your responsibility. It's the price of living in big sky country. 101. Finally, in Florida's retirement communities, golf carts reign supreme, but they come with rules. Some HOAs regulate everything from the type of cart you can own to where it's parked. Thinking of decking it out with neon lights and custom rims? Don't count on cruising under the radar. And there you have it, 101 of the weirdest housing laws in the US. But here's the real question. Which of these laws do you think actually make sense? And which ones feel like they were written by someone having a really bad day? Or maybe you've got a bizarre housing rule in your town that beats all of these. Drop your thoughts in the comments. I'm ready to be shocked.